Let's talk about express entry today. What is express entry? Express entry is a pool where candidates can register their profiles to get an opportunity to apply for Canadian permanent residency. Now, who can register his or her profile into express entry? In order for any candidate to register his or her profile in express entry, he or she must be eligible to one of the following Canadian immigration programs: Federal Skill Worker Program, Canadian Experience Class, or Federal Skill Trades Program. Let's compare two very famous programs out of the three: Federal Skill Worker and Canadian Experience Class. First, let's talk about the work experience. What's the difference in work experience requirement for these two programs? In Federal Skill Worker, candidate must have 1 continuous year of full-time work experience in the same job at skill level O, A, or B. In Canadian Experience Class, candidate must have 1 year of work experience at skill level O, A, or B. It doesn't matter if it's not continuous. It doesn't matter if the candidate change employers during this year, as long as it's a skilled work experience for 1 year. Another difference is, in Federal Skill Worker, candidates' work experience from around the world is acceptable. In Canadian Experience Class, candidate must have at least 1 year of work experience within Canada. Now, in Federal Skill Worker, full-time work experience is required, or equivalent part-time. This requirement is same in Canadian Experience Class also. One major difference between Federal Skill Worker and Canadian Experience Class, I would like to highlight that apart from the other requirements, in Federal Skill Worker program, candidate must score 67 points out of the 100 based on the various eligibility factors like age, education, work experience, language ability, ties to Canada, adaptability, job offer. However, in Canadian Experience Class, minimum requirements are 1 year of work experience in Canada and CLB 7 or 6 in language test based on Noc Level of Experience. Let's talk about minimum educational requirement. Unlike work experience, no minimum education is required for a candidate to apply to Federal Skill Worker or Canadian Experience Class. Even if you're high school and you meet the other requirements, you are eligible to apply to these programs. But you might not score enough in the express entry pool due to the lack of educational points. And for the Federal Skilled Worker, there is another requirement of a candidate to have 67 points. So having lower educational points will eventually impact a candidate's eligibility for Federal Skill Worker because he or she might not score 67 points. Language ability. Language requirements are a bit different in the two programs. Minimum language requirements for Federal Skill Worker is CLB 7, which is 6 each in IELTS and 7 each in CELPIP. For all the Noc levels, this is the minimum language requirement for Federal Skill Worker. In Canadian Experience Class, if the candidate has an experience in a Noc Level O or A, the language requirements are CLB 7, same as Federal Skill Worker. But if the candidate has Canadian experience in Noc Level B, then lower language scores are accepted. The minimum requirements for Noc Level B are CLB 6. Another eligibility factor is proof of funds. For Federal Skill Worker, candidate must show that they're meeting the minimum requirements for proof of funds. They can do it either by showing money in their account, or this condition considered met if candidate is legally working in Canada and also has a valid job offer from the Canadian employer, supported by LMIA or LMIA exempt. For the Canadian experience class, there is no minimum fund requirement. This requirement already considered met when candidate is applying under Canadian experience class, which means candidate having 1 year of experience in Canada. Even if candidate is currently not living in Canada and not working in Canada, but applying under Canadian experience class and registering in express entry, then this funds requirement is already considered met. This was just a brief information about minimum requirements of these programs. There are other factors that you need to consider before applying and in order to receive invitation from Express Entry. Thank you for watching.